Discovering a positive outlet to express yourself is critically important to your emotional, mental, psychological, and physical development. For Christopher Rabideau, growing up obese and in an environment of neglect caused him to unleash some unhealthy habits. In order to combat this, he turned to sports, specifically football, which he played all throughout his collegiate career, and now he is on a mission to help others maximize their fitness and personal potential. He joined me this week to discuss his life journey, his career as a certified fitness professional, and so much more. I'm Kevin McShad. Let's have this conversation. Rabideau firmly believes that being a sponge of knowledge, being willing to embrace every new opportunity for advancement which came his way, and surrounding himself with some quality mentors has been the catalyst to his boundless success. You ready, Chris? I welcome you to the show, and I'm super excited to have you on the show today to talk about your personal and fitness journey. So great to see you, and thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. So, growing up, the first 10 years of my life was filled with a lot of negative stuff, substance abuse, neglect, violence. I just grew up in a very negative environment. CPS was involved, and I was transferred out of that negative environment where, I was kind of placed in a situation where I was kind of dabbling in a lot of different sports. But the first time I was really involved with fitness is when I was 10 years old and I was obese. I was actually involved in a program here just local at one of our local health clubs here in Everett, Washington, close to Seattle, where the whole focus was just fighting childhood obesity, right? That was the first time I really fell in love with the idea of working out. From there, I started to dial my focus into football growing up. That's what I played up until my freshman year of college. I went to college over in Montana, a small town called Helena, and things just didn't work out, came back. I didn't have sports. Really, sports was kind of what revolved around my life. I continued to work out. I continued to go to the gym. And this was something that I really fell in love with. And this is something that I really love to do. It got to a certain point where I was like, man, I wonder how can I make a career out of this? Because I had coaches, more importantly, I had a strength and conditioning coach. His name was Brandon Blinn, who owned his own studio, and he trained my mother for a certain period of time. So that was kind of my first idea in high school of maybe this could be an awesome career for me. But again, my mind was still, I was going to college to play football. My mind was still in a lot of different ways. So when I left college and I came back here, I started to really shadow him, see what his day-to-day looked like, see what it really felt like, and seeing the impact that he had on other people. It was always fun. It was always a positive environment, and it was almost like a party, but everybody was working hard. Everybody enjoyed their time. It wasn't like just a typical, you come, you work out, you leave. It was like a family atmosphere. So at a certain time, this was December of 2019, I was working at US Bank, but I was really shadowing him closely. I had just gotten registered to take my certified personal trainer exam through NASM. And I had some stuff going on with my family and some personal stuff to where I started using pills. I got really addicted to sleeping pills and I actually overdosed in early December. That was kind of like a huge turning point for me because when I got to a certain point and I was in that hospital for 2 days and it was just me, I knew my life wasn't going in the right direction. I knew what I wanted to do and I knew where my life wanted to be, but I was hesitant. I wasn't taking action. So as soon as I left that hospital that same day, you know, I was wearing sweats and a baggy shirt. I went to my job, I quit, and I went to the gym, the same gym where I was working out currently, but the same gym where my mom was going, and I was enrolled in that youth obesity program when I was 10 years old. And ironically enough, I quit my job. That gym is just right next door. They have a job application that says, hey, we're looking for receptionists. So me, like, oh, okay, this would be interesting. I would love to do this. I sit and I fill it out, and I give it to the front desk person that was there at the time. And then I go do my workout. Probably about an hour into my workout, I get a call from the GM of the gym. And she was like, hey, you know, we would love to do an interview with you. We're actually looking for someone to fill this spot. And I was like, hey, I'm in the gym right now. You know, I'm going to be a little bit sweaty. I don't have the appropriate, you know, interview clothes, but if we want to do it today, we can do it. And she was like, oh yeah, that's not an issue. It's all good. So I do my workout and I meet with the front desk person and I ask, hey, I would like to speak to the GM. And the front desk person was like, oh, you're Chris, right? And I was like, yeah, that's me. She was like, okay, so we're going to hire you. There was no interview that happened. She was just like, we're going to hire you. We need someone to take this spot. So you're going to start Saturday. It was that following Saturday. You're going to start and we're just going to see how it goes. And if we like you, we're going to keep you. But if we don't like you, then you're going to be gone. So, you know, I started off as a receptionist and my whole goal was really just to prove myself. I really loved that gym and how it differed from like a LA Fitness or a 24-hour fitness with just the family atmosphere, the small town community vibe. And I just thrived there ever since.
Well, Chris, I always tell people to seize the opportunity to advance themselves, and it's nothing like a workout and getting a job, right?
Exactly, right?
So tell me, how has that life experience helped you in your professional career now as you look to motivate clients yourself?
Well, for me, I've always been a student, especially when it comes to that. I know that is like, I'm always wake up and I'm grateful for the fact that's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And when it comes to that, I always was just like a student. You know, the people who I was working with at the time, you know, in my eyes, they were like really successful in the fitness industry. And it was really cool because at the club, at our gym during the time, the receptionist is in the same room as the owner, the CEO, the president. So you get to have those conversations. So when it comes to me trying to develop myself, in a healthy competitive way, I've always wanted to be the best at whatever I do. That's bottom line. That's just who I am deep down inside. So I was looking at these guys as kind of like my mentors at a certain point. So whenever I wasn't working as a receptionist and doing my thing, I was shadowing these trainers, seeing how they were doing it. I was studying for my certification exam at the time, and I was just talking to, you know, the CEO, the president of the company about their life story and how they got into fitness. Now, for me at the time, I was really young and I was really impressionable. So there was a lot of things that I saw from a lot of trainers where I took and I used kind of those philosophies under my own wing. But there was a lot of things too where I was like, I don't know if that works for that client, or I don't know if this person's really right to be a personal trainer after some years of experience. So being able to kind of look at what worked and what didn't work and be able, you know, once I left that club and I went to another gym, to take that's been my biggest philosophy, especially for a lot of people who are on the fence for personal training. I always love to tell that story because it's like, I don't need you to be an expert at working out. I don't need you to be an expert at anything. My biggest thing is if you're willing to be coachable, because at the end of the day, a personal trainer is a coach. So if you're willing to be coachable, it's just like in sports, then you're going to be successful.
Tell me, Chris, what do you have to say to people that want to sort of break out of unhealthy habits and sort of take back control of their fitness life and personal life as well?
Well, I think the first thing that people have to, you know, the first phase is always awareness and acceptance. And I think something you just said was there, like they want to take control of their lives. Oftentimes when people from a physical standpoint kind of go off a slippery slope, it becomes habits. They lose control of themselves. So, you know, my biggest frustration with the world today is how these unhealthy habits that society has developed are extremely commercialized, right? You see these commercials for McDonald's, for Jack in the Box, but you never see a 24-hour fitness. You never see LA Fitness. You never see a gym commercial. That's been my biggest frustration when it comes to someone having that realization of, hey, I'm not in control of my life. It's not that I don't look good, it's that I don't feel good, because they both correlate, right? So being able to look at yourself in the mirror and first of all say, hey, I'm not where I want to be, or I'm not sometimes where I need to be because my doctor said this, or even just I'm not happy with myself. Being able to say that sentence is that's the biggest step, right? Second is just take action. Do not hesitate. Walk into the gym. Most people who walk into the gym that I work with on a day-to-day basis, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what to do. They just like to hop on the treadmill for 20 minutes and then leave. They want to fit in. They want to look a certain way when they walk into the gym. Being able to just really embrace your stance at where you are when it comes to your health and your fitness and going into the gym for the first time is always huge. And then lastly, I think the biggest thing too, when it comes just to the fundamentals is understand that working out is not black and white, right? You can't just go and do these random workouts. That's why I have a job. That's why people pay me to help them work out, is because there's so much science behind it and there's so much education behind it. So you only get one body, right? Your body is your temple. You got to nourish that to let that grow. So being able to invest that time to maybe do some research, look into certain things that you should or shouldn't be doing to really get control of your life is fundamental, right? And I always like to tell people, hey, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to really develop a habit and to break those old negative habits. Because like the example I like to give is like one habit is like brushing your teeth, right? We do that so subconsciously that it's harder to not do it subconsciously, right? You really have to think about not doing it. When it comes to negative eating, when it comes to laziness, to lack of activity and habits versus really making those positive health changes of habits, that's always the hardest part. But after that 4 to 6 week kind of process, then people will really flourish.
And tell me, what would you say to people that want to get into this career? You talked earlier about having mentors to sort of shadow with, but what other pieces of advice would you want to give to people who would want to get into this career full time?
Be ready to work always. It's not starting off. It's not super glamorous. It's not something where it's not a suit and tie desk job, right? There's so many. For me, right, I was very confused when I started off. I didn't know really where to go or where to look to. One, education is important. You have to know what you're talking about. There's so many of these fake fitness influencers who are out on social media who can positively or negatively impact people. So one, the education, right, the baseline. But two, just understand you've got to start somewhere, whether it is a receptionist, whether it is a janitor. Get to know the people that you're working with, and express, like if you're working at a corporate gym just starting off, talk to your higher ups about being a personal trainer, right? Because most of the time they're going to help you out. Any gym you go to, those management levels will help you succeed at that level because they like the personal trainers. They're the face of the gyms ideally. And just continue to understand that this is just like any career. This is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. It's a long process. It's really tough starting off, but if you're able to kind of just trust the process and keep grinding and set a clear path, then you'll definitely be successful.
Rabideau says that surrounding yourself with a group of like-minded people when you're first beginning to take the plunge to take control of your fitness life again is a great idea in order to keep yourself motivated to stay on track.
Especially starting out, that's probably the most important thing, because people are lost and afraid going to the gym, working out for the first time, whether it's by themselves with a personal trainer. So that's always kind of been my philosophy too, as part of my job, is getting people with like-minded people, because I sit and I talk to a lot of people every single day when I'm in the gym, when there's not a pandemic. So my biggest thing I always like to tell people, outside if it's really just overwhelming to be kind of that outcast, because that's how a lot of people look at themselves. One, I just like to tell people, hey, everybody's thinking about themselves at the gym, whether you've been starting off or whether you've been doing this a long time. Nobody's really going to be directly having their focus on anybody else except themselves. That's a real thing. But two, when it comes to, collaborating with one another, those relationships are so important. It's just like, in anything you do, in any project, whether it's for school, whether it's for work, that collaboration, one, you're building friendships, you're building relationships, you have someone or something to look forward to. And even from the workout side too, the last thing is it's accountability. You get used to working with this person that if this person is not feeling motivated, or if this person wants to take an off day, or, they start slipping up again, the other person that is, trying to be consistent and work with it is going to notice they're not going to have such a memorable or an enjoyable experience, that they're going to really start kind of getting on that person of like, hey, let's do this. Come on. It's just going to be another source of accountability and motivation.
You ready to have some fun in the interview there, Chris?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, I know that you're all about healthy lifestyle, but I want you to answer these next couple of questions in a rapid fire way. So,
Okay.
if you could binge on any food for a day and return to your normal body, which food would you binge on, buddy?
Oh, definitely Oreos. My dad grew up and always had Oreos in the house, and always used to sneak a whole sleeve full, and I always felt guilty after. But if I could go one whole day eating like 2 to 3 packs of Oreos, that'd be awesome.
See, my answer would be apple pie, but we'll
Ooh, that's
beg
that's
to
a good one
differ
too.
there. But so, if the world ended tomorrow, what would you most want to be remembered by?
I think the biggest thing is I always was kind of like I always want to be remembered as not being in the crowd. I want to kind of be known as like, hey, he did this. He's creating his own lane. He's not like those people, or he's not like the other side. He just did his own thing. His intentions were 1,000,000% pure.
And what are your top 3 fitness exercises, Bon?
Oh, top 3 fitness exercises. Well, leg day always number one, right? Most guys love the upper body day, but leg day is definitely number one. Two, I love bench press. I love maxing out. That's really the first workout of weightlifting that really got me to fall in love. And then 3, going back to my college football days, definitely hit some hang cleans, some power cleans. You're really gassed after those, but it's really good. You feel way, way better after the workout.
Do you think Ohio State should be in the college football playoff?
What was that?
Do you think Ohio State should be in the college football playoff?
They're always good. They're pretty consistently good. That's also going to be an interesting shakeup too. So can't wait to see that.
And what are the top 3 songs on your playlist right now, Bun?
Oh, top 3, definitely all rap. So, I'm a big Drake fan. I love Drake. His new album's coming out. So that's going to be it. But right now, I would say "Laugh Now, Cry Later" by Drake. The second one I would say is probably anything by Jay-Z, anything by Hove. Can't really go wrong with that. And then third, I would probably have to say some old NWA, Straight Outta Compton. It really kind of varies, but I always love to stay in the genre of rap.
Good stuff. I got 3 more for you. What's the one thing that you've accomplished in life that you're most proud of?
Ooh, one thing that I accomplished in life. I think the biggest thing that I was able to accomplish, and I've done this in many different ways, is, really self-awareness, and being able to understand when things aren't going right, and to be able to catch things early and have the strength to really kind of go out there and change things, and not just, follow the crowd that most people my age do, or just kind of do the same thing. I always want to know, how can I be different? How can I be better?
And if you had the privilege of spending one day with one celebrity, who would that be, Bun?
Oh man, Toronto's best, Drake.
I'm developing a theme here, but
Right.
that's okay. And finally, buddy, tell me one thing in life that you haven't accomplished yet that you want to.
Well, there's the biggest thing right now, of course, is opening up my own gym, my own studio, and being
I
successful.
figured you might say that.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing too is I always, in a non-selfish and a non-sleazy kind of way, my biggest goal is to really try to touch every single person that's out there, right? That has, especially with social media and being in quarantine right now, just being able to outreach as many people as I can. That's always been the goal.
Fantastic, Chris. I really want to thank you for a very energetic and thought-provoking conversation. Really enjoyed learning about your professional and personal life, and I wanted to thank you for being here this afternoon. It's most appreciated.
I appreciate you, Kevin. Thank you so much.